Everyone, welcome to this episode of the Outdoor Gear Review. It is time for a test night episode, and I'm excited for this test. In fact, I'm actually testing out two tents. This will be two different videos. I have the Catoma Stealth 1 and also the Catoma Combat 2-person tent. This is a prolonged rain event that is coming in. Hurricane Zeta is on the way, so we have a cold front first. Rain's going to start by morning tomorrow. It's going to rain all day, then the hurricane's going to come in. It's going to rain for another 24 hours. Both tents will be out in the rain for 2 days, and I will spend one night in both tents. With this episode, it is all about the Stealth 1, and we might as well set it up now. Now when it comes to the Stealth 1, this is a very old military surplus tent that's been out for at least 10 years. From what I understand, it is no longer being made for the military, but there is a civilian version of this tent out there. And in fact, that is what this is. Overall, the setup process is very easy and can be done in about 6 minutes. That was a very easy setup. Again, that took about 6 minutes. And as it stands, this tent is ready to go. All that I have to do is bring in my camping gear and I will be set. I do have a few points to mention before turning the camera off and awaiting the rain. Let's see, this tent is very long. It's about 8 feet long. It's not very tall. I believe it's 36 inches tall. You cannot sit up inside of this. This is, without a doubt, a stealth tent. This is made for low profile. It's made for wind resistance. And also, it is made to be, theoretically, very waterproof. This tent features a 3,000 millimeter hydrostatic head rating, and that's for the fly and also for the floor. Hopefully that means that this is a very waterproof tent. We will find out. That is what this episode is all about. How much rain can this tent take? Will it leak? And also, how does this tent handle condensation? What about moisture control? That is a big question that I have for this tent. The fly goes almost down to the ground, so how good is the ventilation? Will moisture be a problem? I don't know. Together, we will find out. Good morning, everyone. It is now the next day. Rain has moved in, and it has been raining for, I would say, a good 2 hours. 1 hour of that rain was pretty moderate. The next hour was pretty light. And as of right now, it is really coming down. I tell you, everyone, I would love to open up this tent right now to see how it's doing, but it's simply raining too hard. If I open this door, everything on the inside of that tent is going to get wet. The forecast for today and tonight involves lots of rain and possibly some storms later on tomorrow. So, as I mentioned yesterday, or earlier in this video, I guess, there is a cold front that is coming through right now. So we're getting some pretty good rain from that. Tomorrow, Hurricane Zeta or whatever it is coming through. For today, they're talking 1 to 2 inches. Tonight, 1 to 2 inches. Tomorrow, 3 to 5 inches. So without a doubt, this is going to be an awesome test for this tent. With the storm system that's coming in, winds are not supposed to be much of an issue. I did go ahead and stake everything out with this tent. I tied everything off. So it is ready to go. It is in storm mode, so to speak. As I mentioned before, I am testing out two tents during this storm system. I have the Stealth 1-person, and I also have the Combat 2-person. I am testing out the Stealth 1-person tonight, and I'm testing out the Combat 2-person tomorrow. Both tents will be left out during all of this rain, and I can't wait to see how well they perform, or how bad. You never know. You never know. There are two main factors that really interest me with this tent, the Stealth 1. One, how waterproof is it? And two, what about condensation? The fly here goes almost down to the ground. There's about a 2-inch gap between the fly and the ground itself. So condensation could be an issue. It could. We will see. It has stopped raining for a second, and it is time to check on this tent to see how well it has done. Has there been any leaks? Let's find out. Now check that out. Terrible design. The fly is right here. It just drips right down on top of the body. There's absolutely nothing that you can do to stop the inside of the tent from getting wet. So far, everyone, the tent is dry, with the exception of what is dripping inside of it right now. The fly, the edge of it is way back here above the body. In my opinion, because of this, I would not recommend this tent in wet weather. Unless you're going to put a tarp over it, I would say forget about it. Well, I'm inside of the Stealth one-person tent and have been for a few hours. And there's a few observations that I can make. First off, it has been raining a lot, and so far there's been no leaks. The second observation is that the airflow in this tent is horrendous. When it's all sealed up, this is on a whole new level of suck. It is so hot, so humid, and the thing is, it's not really hot outside. I'd say it's probably about 55 degrees right now. I've been absolutely miserable. It is stifling in here. The fly goes all the way down to the ground. There's zero airflow. It's pretty miserable. It really is. I have to be honest with you. I am impressed with how waterproof this tent is so far. A waterproof tent is only one aspect to a tent. It could be the most waterproof tent in the world, but if the ventilation is bad, if it's poor, that really limits the use of such a tent. We will talk more about that in the morning. For now, I'm going to get some sleep. Wish me luck, everyone. I'm in here just cooking in my own juices. I don't know if you guys can see this, but I'm sweating. It's unreal. Anyways, everyone, take care. See you all in just a bit when the rain picks up. Good morning, everybody. Here's an update for you. It's about 3 hours since I last spoke to you. Rain has continued with varying degrees of intensity. It's still super muggy in here. I do have the door unzipped as much as possible. I'm just having to keep an eye, making sure that rain doesn't get into the tent. And that has helped quite a bit. But it's still muggy. Condensation's a huge problem, which I will talk about later on in the morning. Good morning, everybody. I made it. I hope you're all doing well. So, last night was incredibly rainy, no doubt about it. It's still raining now. It rained all night, at points incredibly hard. All in all, the tent did very good in terms of leaking, but it did leak. There's one place here at the door where the zipper is. There's a flap that goes over that zipper. It leaked the entire time. Water just streamed down this. And at points, it would actually come in contact with the mesh. But most of the time, it would simply run the fly all the way down to the ground. You might be able to see it. It's very humid in here. And in fact, this tent condensates worse than just about any tent I've ever seen. It is incredibly bad. If you have to be inside of this sealed up 100%, it's going to be miserable. There's no doubt about it. Rain is supposed to continue throughout the day, the night, and into tomorrow. And this tent will be out in it. Once the rain concludes, I will share with you all my thoughts. We'll look at this tent in more detail and wrap up this episode. But as of right now, I'm excited to get out of this thing because it is so damp. Now folks, some time has passed since I saw you last. This tent went through numerous rain events, including the hurricane. More rain came in last night, and this morning, some very strong winds. I would say winds up to around 35 miles per hour. I left this tent out in these conditions while sleeping in the Combat 2, and the truth is, this tent has held up well. It really has. Now, to wrap up this episode, I have some thoughts to share with you all, some points to go over. I've been making some notes. Please keep in mind that this is one trip out of many. I will have more episodes in the future with this tent. I've been testing this tent out in the worst of conditions, and I still have a lot of testing to do. Now, with that being said, let's talk about the setup process. This is very easy. You can do this in about 6 minutes. Compared to the Combat 2, this is way, way easier. The next point to mention is that this is a double wall tent through and through. It's very warm. The ventilation is extremely limited with this tent. So in warm areas where you may have to seal this up because of lots of rain, I would not recommend this. Without even waiting for the review, I'd say this is not the tent for you. In drier areas, sure. Potentially in colder areas, I need to do some testing to see how well this could work. But yeah, for hot areas, for very wet areas, I would not recommend this tent. Another point that I have to mention in regards to wet conditions is the door. The edge here is way far back than the body. So as soon as you open this up, rain and water just pour right into the body of the tent. Because of that, I would not recommend this for wet conditions. Snow is a different story, and I will test that out. Due to the design of the body, it can be extremely hard to get in and out of this. The bathtub floor goes up to right about here. It's about a foot off the ground. So you have to get up and over that to get in and out. It's a very small hole to get in and out of. That simply is not going to work for some people. And that brings me to my next point, size. It's long, it's wide enough, but it is not tall. It's right around 36 inches. This is a very low profile tent that may be uncomfortable to many. I'm a short guy, I'm a small guy, and it's uncomfortable for me. That doesn't mean that you can't use it or I can't use it, but it is something to keep in mind. There are times where this is going to be simply uncomfortable. And that's true with any low profile tent. This is one of the worst tents I've ever seen when it comes to condensation. This one, the Combat 2, the Kelty one-man filled tent, they're all in the same group. Something about the materials that they use. Maybe it's a waterproof coating, I'm not sure, but it provides zero breathability for the tent. Moisture cannot escape. It forms on the bathtub floor, on the fly. I've never seen moisture buildup quite as bad as this in the Combat 2. It's off the charts bad. If you can keep the tent open with good airflow, it's not a problem, but seal this thing up and you will have problems. In my upcoming review, I will have some suggestions on how to make this a more waterproof tent, how to set this up with more ventilation than what you get right now. There are things that can be done that will make this a better shelter. So everyone, that is the Stealth 1 from Catoma, and my test night episode ends here. Thank you all very much for joining me for this trip. It has been a wet one, a windy one, a very moist one, at times hot, uncomfortable. Oof. It's been something else. Make sure to sound off in the comment section down below. Share your thoughts. What do you all think about the Stealth 1 and its performance so far? Again, this is just one trip out. Everyone, take care, strength and honor, be safe.